I'm literally about to throw up. I am so excited, but so nervous at the same time. Welcome, bestie, to my first ever YouTube video. It is honestly so insane for me to say that I'm in this position right now. I finally bought a camera. I got a fancy lens, and it took me like 1,000 hours to honestly to set the whole thing up. But now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, damn, like I did that, you know? Welcome. If you're new here, my name is Leslie. I'm an online fitness and health creator slash influencer slash online fitness coach. I mean, honestly, I check out all these boxes. So I put a Q&A box up on my Instagram and I asked you to ask me some questions. So I'm going to be answering some of the top questions that I get all the time. Question number 1, what made you start your fitness and health journey? Growing up, I didn't play any sports. Okay. I was a band and choir girly. I also come from a Hispanic household. So fitness and health just wasn't a thing, girl. Like it just was not, you know, it wasn't taught. And also the importance of just working out and eating healthy, like that just didn't exist, you know, for me. And it wasn't until I was in college that my body was reacting to the foods that I would eat through bloatingness and being fatigued. I remember just always feeling so tired. I didn't know why. I was also eating out all the freaking time. Like I was eating Chick-fil-A, Whataburger, McDonald's, and mind you, every once in a while, that's cool. But like, if you're eating that every single day, you know, like I'm sure that that has consequences. I've always been very slim, but slim in the sense of like just tiny. I've never been fat, but when I started to eat just nothing but just fast food, I started to get skinny fat. I literally remember just going to class, coming back, and laying in bed all day. And that's what I did every single day. And I was like, why do I feel so tired? And also the bloating, like the bloating was literally insane. I have pictures of myself where I literally looked pregnant because of how bloated I was. But no one was telling me like, hey, Les, like it might be your diet, or hey, Les, it's because you literally don't move other than besides going to class and coming back. There came a point where I literally was so depressed. I would look at myself in the mirror and I literally would hate what I would see. And it's so sad to say, and I'm getting teary-eyed a little bit saying this, because I know and I understand what it feels like to look at yourself and be discontent with the things that you see. And honestly, just not knowing why I was so bloated all the time or so fatigued all the time. But I was like, you know what? I have to do something. I don't know what it is that I have to do or what I'm going to do or how to do it, but I'm going to do something about this. I put 2 and 2 together and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should stop eating out all the time. Maybe I should make some food at home. And at the time too, like, girl, I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to do anything. What made me start my fitness and health journey is getting to the point of just being so tired that I decided to create change. When I made that decision, it was almost kind of like a switch. Now, this is also not to say that I was perfect with everything, but this is just kind of like the turning point that I feel like it was for me. Just being so discontent and so depressed with myself that I was like, I don't know what needs to change, but you're going to do something about it. Yeah, it's a little bit sad, but that's just the truth. Question number 2, how did you transition from a 9-to-5 job to 100% fitness content? So for those of you who don't know, I did not go to school for anything related to fitness and health. I graduated from Texas A&M University with a bachelor's degree in geographic information systems. I minored in geography and meteorology. So nothing related to what I do now. I did not start my social media page until December 2 years ago. And I already knew that I wanted to do social media before I even graduated college, but I just knew that it wasn't my time yet because I was a full-time student. I was hella broke. Like, I just had too much going on. And so I told myself that I would start my social media channel like after graduation, which is exactly what I did. I created an Instagram page and a TikTok page. Upon graduation, I got my full-time job here in Austin, Texas, working for the state. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take social media a little bit more seriously. Seriously in the sense of just posting more consistently, being more active. At that point, like I literally started with 0 followers on all social media platforms. Like no one knew who I was. I was over here thinking I was Beyonce or someone, but I was just posting consistently, right? For no reason. The first 6 months, dude, of doing that was extremely hard. I just didn't know what it all entailed when it came to social media. Like I really just thought that I was just going to be posting my little videos and I was just going to call it a day, right? I was like, oh, ooh, you know, she cute. Yeah, psych. Because what ended up happening is that I started posting on Instagram, right? I was posting consistently on Instagram while I was working my full-time job. And then all of a sudden, boom, one of my meal prep videos goes viral on TikTok. Okay, and I know what some of y'all thinking. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Psych. Because what came along after that was just complete chaos. All of a sudden, I started getting a lot of followers. I started getting brand deals. Again, seems exciting, but just wait. And so I was still at my full-time job, but this was going on in the background. And the demand of me fulfilling my content creation duties became bigger and harder because I just didn't know how to do absolutely anything. I didn't know how to work with brands. I didn't know how to negotiate. I did not know how to write a script for the type of content that they're looking for. Like all these different things that I just did not think about when I first launched my social media channels. Like once that happened, I was introduced to this whole realm of content creation that I just wasn't aware of. And shit got real so fast. And it came to the point where I was like, I can't do both. My execution on my full-time job was like minimizing because I was doing data analysis essentially. And it was very, very demanding. And at the same time, I just had a lot going on in the background. I would literally clock in from 8 to 5 p.m. I would get off of work, go to the gym from 5 to 6, record content, come back home, edit my content, eat. Editing would take me also so long because I was just new to it. It came to the point where I literally did not go out with any friends and I was stressed out all the freaking time. But it came a point again that I was just like, you know what? Something gotta go. I cannot do both. And so I decided to pull the plug, quit my full-time job and then pursued social media full-time. And I've been doing it now full-time for about 8 months now. I literally just started it on the side. I think that if you want opportunities, you create opportunities, and this is exactly what I did. Question number 3, how did you motivate yourself in the beginning to work out consistently? People think that building discipline and working out consistently is linear, when that's simply not the case. When it comes to building consistency, when it comes to exercise and anything fitness related, it takes time to build. It's just like any other skill. Like, how do you build a skill? You attempt it once, you fell, you suck, you do it again, maybe you get a little better, you suck again, you know, you try it again, and the more that you continue trying, the better you get at it. It's the same thing applies here. Like, obviously, yes, it was a motivation of me feeling bad about myself and just wanting to be better for myself. But at the same time, I understood that consistency with working out was something that was built over time and not something that was linear. When I first started, I wasn't going consistently. My first step, I still remember the first day that I stepped foot into the gym. I was so intimidated that I literally walked in there and I was like, oh no, this is too much. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. And I literally walked right back out. I was so scared. It's a process. You know, it's like you cannot expect yourself to know everything and how to do everything. Just because I was defeated that one day, I did not let it just outright be like, oh, I'm never going again because I'm scared. I think fear should not be something that holds us back from doing the things that we want to do. So for me, it was just like understanding that consistency wasn't something that it just happens overnight. It's something that you build up just like any other skill. So I was like, you know what? Today I was intimidated. Maybe I'll try again next week. And I did. You know, I tried again next week. I still got up and I continued to show up for myself, even if I felt scared, even if I felt unsure or feeling like I would look stupid. I still showed up and I did not give up. And it's about having the discipline, but also the understanding that consistency is something that is built over time and that it is not linear. The more that you put yourself into these situations of continue to try to show up and continue trying just in general is what is going to lead you to consistency. It's not something that just happens, like I said, overnight. We wish, right? We wish that we would tell ourselves something and we just fell through with it, but it just doesn't work that way. I knew that if I wanted to do this consistently, one, it was going to be a learning experience and that it was going to take some time. I won't lie, there was time periods where I was a little bit harsh with myself, but I still give myself some grace. I think that going into working out with that mindset is going to take you way farther than having this unrealistic expectation that you're just going to outright be like showing up every single day with 0 mistakes. It's unrealistic. It's just about discipline and our mindset. Question number 4 is, how do you come up with your meal prep ideas? All right, so here's the tea with the meal prep ideas. Bestie, I literally get all my ideas from Instagram and TikTok. Mostly Instagram, I will not lie. Instagram is it, you know? The way that I go about it is literally before I even go grocery shopping, before I decide what it is that I want to make or all this other stuff, I literally just ask myself, what am I feeling? Okay, like literally just start there. Like, what do I feel like eating next week? That starting there, it'll save you so much time instead of just going through a bunch of recipes and not being intentional with what it is that you're looking for. Once you know what it is that you want to eat for the following week, that's whenever you start to hit places like Instagram. So for example, if I am feeling having shrimp for dinner, right? I'll go into Instagram and I'll be like, shrimp recipes. Literally go to Instagram, click the search bar and type in shrimp recipe. You're gonna see a bunch of shrimp recipes come up. Just go through them, right? And see which one looks good. If you see one, right? And let's say that it kind of interests you, but this person is adding asparagus to the shrimp and you're like, that's a little bit weird. I don't want that. That's gross. Don't dismiss the whole recipe just because it has an ingredient that you don't like. Replace it. Good rule of thumb that I always like to follow is that I always incorporate a protein, a carb, a fat, and some micronutrients. I want to make sure that my plate is pretty diversified. Is that a word? I don't know if that's the right word, but you get what I mean. Basically, you want your plate to have, or your meal preps to have, a little bit of everything. Don't let it just be carbs. Don't let it just be, I mean, if you want just protein, you can, because protein don't hurt nobody. You want to have a little bit of everything. This is if you're really trying to get creative out here. I'm just being honest in the way that I go about it. I will get inspiration from other creators on Instagram or TikTok, save them into an album, combine whatever it is that I feel like combining, switch out certain ingredients, and then make it my own. There's nothing special about it. I will say that it is something that takes practice, because when you first do it, you're kind of like, okay, like how exactly am I supposed to do this, you know? If you want to see a more in-depth video as to how I do this, make sure to comment down below and let me know. Question number 5, do you track macros/calories daily? Personally, when I first started my fitness journey, like I was never a big fan of tracking my calories. Tracking your calories, for me, in my personal opinion, I thought that it was way too limited. Like I felt like I was very strict, and honestly, I just never saw myself being sustainable with tracking my calories every single day. The answer to the question is no. I don't track my macros, nor I track my calories, but I will say that the only thing that I tend to pay attention to the most out of all the macros is my protein intake. The reason being is because I want to make sure that I'm actually supplying my body with enough protein to sustain me and the exercise that I do. I just want to make sure that I'm not falling short with my protein, because protein is just so important when it comes to building muscle, to retain muscle, and just long-term health. Obviously, things like carbs, fats, and micronutrients are also very much important, but protein to me has always been the one thing that always just kind of sticks out, and I also just tend to undereat a lot. So making sure that I'm getting at least 40 to 50 grams of protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm set. So that's basically the only thing that I like to track-ish, but other than that, I don't track my macros nor calories. Question number 6. I'm struggling with discipline in most areas of my life. Do you have any advice? If you feel like you're struggling with discipline in most areas of your life, it is most likely because you're trying to do everything at the same time. I've been there, I've done that, I know what you mean. When you feel like you're kind of falling short, you're doing everything, right? You're doing like multiple things. Let's say you're trying to get your nutrition right, your workout plan right, making sure that you're taking care of the kids right, whatever it is, right? You're doing like all these different things, but you feel like you're still not really doing one thing the way that it's supposed to be done. Let's say you have 5 things that you're trying to fulfill. Imagine like a line between me and those things, right? I'm spreading myself way too thin to complete everything that I have to do. So how do you fix that? You take away from your plate and you focus on one thing at a time. So instead of dealing with 5 things, you focus on 2 things and make sure that you master those 2 things to the point where it's like almost like second nature to you. It's like, you know what? I'm not even thinking about it at this point. Start with 2 things or 1 thing and then add on the rest of the sections that you're trying to fulfill. The more that we're able to break things down, the more likeliness of us actually fulfilling the things that we want to do. Does that make sense? I feel like that sentence didn't make sense, but you get the point. You got to break it down, bestie. You can't be doing everything at the same time. Question number 7. What do you do to get out of a funk? funk. Usually when it comes to a funk with exercise, it's typically because you're a little bit burnt out with doing the same things that you normally do. For me, what I like to do is switch things up. So for example, going to the gym 4 times a week, and I do that every single week. There's gonna be a point where you get burnt out because I do the same workouts every single week for months on end. So there will be a point where I get a little bit burnt out. I'm like, all right, sis, like, can we do something else? And I get into these funks. You get into these periods of just not feeling so good. What helps me a lot is literally just switching things up. So instead of going to the gym for that week, I'll go on runs. I'll take a Zumba class. I will go hiking, to stay active, but it's different from what I would normally do. Just experiment with it. Instead of like lifting weights, maybe you do a HIIT workout instead for that whole week. Switching your environment, one, but switching the workouts that you're doing goes a long way because it makes it more exciting. It breaks that cycle of feeling like you're doing the same things over and over again. So changing your environment, changing the style of movement that you're doing. Question number 8, do you eat any snacks throughout the day? If so, what? I'm not even gonna lie to you, I am not the biggest snacking person. Like, I do not be snacking. The things that I do like to snack on are usually things like fruit, string cheese. Like, that's literally what I eat as a snack. Now, if I'm craving a little bit something like sweeter, I'll eat some ice cream for sure. Like, I typically get like these ice cream cravings like towards the end of the day. After my last meal, which is dinner, like I literally will have craving for like some ice cream, and so I have a little bit of ice cream. But other than that, like, I do not have any cravings, nor do I tend to snack a lot. And that, I really do think that that is just because whenever I eat my meals, I feel very satiated. I feel very fulfilled with the meals that I eat throughout the day. Like, my body isn't like asking for me to snack on things because I feel so fulfilled with the foods that I'm eating. Time management tips. I'm a full-time employee, mom, and wife. It's hard. It all comes down to planning. And I cannot stress this enough. It all comes down to planning. Like, literally sit down, get like a weekly calendar, and in that weekly calendar, I need you to write everything that you have going on for the week before the week starts. So do this on Sunday, do it on Saturday, any free time that you have, literally sit down and write out everything you have going on and be very specific. What time do you have these things going on? For how long? When you have this calendar in front of you, you get to see from an outside perspective how busy and how packed your schedule actually is. But what you will also see is the pockets in which you can fill out with other things that you want to achieve. Let's say you're a student and you work a part-time job like I did. I know that I have classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from this time to this time. I work at my part-time job from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. on these days. And if you write that down in a weekly calendar, you'll start to see those pockets that you have free to meal prep, free to go work out, free to do the things that you say you want to do. People always ask me, like, how are you able to do everything? I currently am taking care of clients. I'm always negotiating with brands. I'm a content creator, so I'm posting consistently on my social media platforms. I dropped a meal prep cookbook. I'm launching my YouTube video. So it's like, people are like, how are you able to do everything? I feel like I've nailed down my work process and how I'm able to be as efficient as I can be. And I'm telling you that the secret sauce is all about planning. And I don't feel burnt out, nor do I feel stressed. And that is the best part about it. Once you master planning ahead of time and knowing what works for you, it's a game changer, y'all. If you want to see a more in-depth video of how I plan, make sure to let me know in the comments below. All right, last question. If you weren't doing this, what do you think you'd be doing for a career? I really do think that if I was not doing social media at all, I think I would 100% go back to GIS work, just because GIS work, data analysis, like, I'm such a techie girl. It's honestly kind of embarrassing to say, but like, I'm such a techie girl. I love analysis. Like, I love, like, in regards to GIS and stuff, I did a lot of coding. Coding was something that I absolutely grew to love towards the end of my degree. And I still do, to a certain extent. Like, I do feel like there will be a point where I will mix both. I don't know how I'm gonna integrate those two things, but I definitely do see myself down the line kind of going back to that a little bit, just because I did enjoy it so much. That's basically what I think I would do full time. All right, bestie, and that is it. I hope you got to take at least one thing away from this. If you haven't already, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, as this will help me tremendously as my first video ever. And make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you for watching. I'm so happy that you're here. Recommend me to your mama, to your friends, to your grandma, to your pets. Recommend me to everyone, because I'm telling you, this is just the beginning. Love you bunches, and I'll see you in the next one.